A common question I've been asked quite a lot is, why aren't you showing the evidence about your particular case if you're as innocent as you claim? Well, there's several reasons for that. Again, number one, there's a lot of it. Number two, while I was in jail, there was a flood, and in the storage area where I have it, and I can't find some of it. I have electronic copies of some of it. I know where I can get the rest, and I have included a good bit of it in my book, which is a work in progress. And as I look at it, it does comport with my memory. I do have some pieces right here that I am going to show you. I wish again that I knew a way that I could splice it on the screen and talk through it. I don't know how to do that. Again, I'm sorry, but I only have so much time. I'm doing this video here at 8:30 at night here after a long day of work. But I wanted to talk about how police improperly use police protocols for preserving evidence. As you know, when police do any kind of a sting, or they do something where they do an arrest, and they get an arrest warrant to search the premises for something, they're supposed to preserve the evidence, okay? And that's for several reasons. Obviously, you want to have a solid case against the person that you're prosecuting, so that the DA's office, the prosecutor's office has it. But you also have to provide discovery to the defense, and you have to have all the records. And over again, we're running into cases where the police don't provide the evidence, where the DA doesn't provide the evidence. And that's actually a little game that the DA's office, the prosecutor's office, likes to play. I say this and these comments I make like this, I don't take it lightly. I'm going off pattern after pattern after pattern, but we've seen this play out in many, many cases, not just in Virginia, but in other places. So if I say it's happened a lot, I'm not coming up with one instance. I'm talking about documented cases where this sort of thing has happened all across the country. And if it happens often enough, in the same way, it's a pattern. And it is a policy unstated, or a procedure unstated, but it's certainly not fictitious in any way. So here I'm looking at the improper police protocol. What I'm about to show you are documents that we use to help brief the attorney in my case, who, as I said, was a very nice man, but he wasn't a great attorney, and that's probably the main reason why I got hammered by the judge on it. And it breaks my heart because, if you knew my reputation, my record, you would know that I would not do any of this that I was accused of. But again, it came down to one single charge. The rest were dismissed. The later incident that some of the trolls keep getting wrong with Ghost CC unit was a probation violation charge that Ghost didn't realize. His only issue was to put me in prison because he didn't like that I was out on bond. And so I was put in jail for the time being to take my original charges time, because my appeals had been exhausted. And they were going to try to get me on additional charges, which could have added 5 additional years, again, on top of the 3 that I was originally sentenced to for something I never did. Fortunately, the court understood that the evidence was hearsay. All those doctored text messages that some of you get all breathless about, or the video that you claim it was not edited at all, which it absolutely was, and everybody up and down the chain on the other side refused to use it because it was. The judge dismissed the charge because it was baloney. But I wanted to go to, again, back to the issue, what happens when police, excuse me, when police take something into evidence, like electronics. What they're supposed to do is tag it, catalog it, and put it in a Faraday box or something that blocks communication, so that it can't be tampered with. Nobody can remotely access it, right? But what if you really want to tamper with it yourself because you're the police? Or what if you're just sloppy and you're not paying adequate attention to it? Well, in this case, in mine, we are aware that I was arrested Here, let me show you first of all what I had here. I don't know if this is going to show up very well on here. So the image on the left here is the what you see if you were looking at my profile in Grindr at the time. You see, I had age 99, as I have said, because I lost my profile and I couldn't figure out how to get it back when I was trying to set it up. So I never put the age. It had the default age of 99. So when the police came after me, they came after me randomly. They weren't coming after me. Would you come after this? They just came after somebody randomly. They were, as I said, phishing. The photo was downloaded July 26th at 10:09 p.m. Okay, now what's interesting about this is that I was last online July 24th. So somebody was playing with my phone. Now we know that from the logs, right? Over here, the middle one here says, Alex's view of me, photo taken on same day at 10:56 a.m. This photo was downloaded at 10:53 a.m. on July 26th. Okay, that's another one. And by the way, these screenshots were provided to us by the police. Over here, my view of my case, my phone. This is a phone laying down, and it says taken July 26 question mark at 5:13 p.m. Phone in evidence was live. It was online with the Grindr application. Geolocation signal was active. Well, that's interesting. So I was arrested about that time. It's possible that that was my last signal when I had the phone. It's possible. It's possible it was my last one. Okay. But I was well in custody for these two. So somebody was taking pictures of my phone. Detective Bauer will say somewhere in there that nothing's been done with my phone, which was a lie, of course. But of course, police are allowed to lie to you all the time. They do it all the time. So here at the top, you can see a screen grab that is narrowed in focus of what the top of my phone looked like. Okay, again, this is taken, let's see, Friday, July 27th. I was in jail, 2:02 p.m., 4 days after my arrest, and they were taking pictures of the phone. Okay, during the interrogation video, which was done 4 days before, they didn't give me a copy of the warrant. They brought it out at the very end. That was edited out of what they gave to me and what they gave to the court. So when he handed it to me, I reached for it. He immediately snapped it back and said, "Oh, I forgot something. I'll bring it back." He never brought it back. I never received the warrant, which is a requirement by law. You're supposed to get the warrant. But of course, courts have been looking the other way on that one too for a long while. So here it says, Norm's phone while being held in evidence. And here you see that it has the Alex icon, not Alex VA. This was Detective Bauer's second clandestine and illegal persona. It would violate the terms of service of the phone provider, which is a violation. It's a legal document. It's a contract. But they have to be willing to enforce it, you see. Over here, you'll notice it has messages. Over here, I never left messages on the phone. So somebody was trying to call. It has other icons on here. It indicates that, let's see, this is messages, somebody leaving me a message. This is Snapchat icon, I think it says. The ghost image of Snapchat. I never had Snapchat. Never had it. Somebody installed it on my phone when I was in prison. Over here, messages, voicemails for me. Let's see, Google is up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is apparently the Verizon Cloud. I never had Verizon Cloud. So somebody installed these on my phone to see what I had or to put something on my phone. Okay. And the next one is the Bluetooth. Somewhere in there's a Bluetooth icon, maybe this one. I've got to turn and read this. I never use Bluetooth. I don't know how to use Bluetooth, right? And it's kind of annoying when you drive by, you listen to somebody having a conversation in their car. Okay, so all of this happened, and that was 5:03 a.m. Okay, on the apparently July 27th. Okay, over here you see it a little darker. You have all these. You have WhatsApp is up and Verizon Cloud. You have messages. You have Snapchat. There's a Snapchat ghost icon clearly visible down here. Okay. I never had Snapchat, never had Verizon Cloud, and I don't know that I was using WhatsApp, but I certainly didn't have it on because I was in jail, you'll see. And this is the Alex icon, not the Alex VA icon. And here it's just got the male bathroom icon that I've talked about elsewhere. Okay. Detective Bauer's second one, and he expected me to know that Alex and Alex VA were the same person. Would you not be confused if you saw this versus Alex VA, thinking that they were different people? Alex VA with the picture versus Alex VA or versus Alex with the bathroom icon? Okay. So then we have down here, let's see. Okay, so this is what it should be. It should have had airplane mode. This is another phone that we use by comparison to show where it should be. This is the uh, airplane icon. So it was supposed to be in airplane mode during that time in order that would have stopped data from coming in. But of course, they didn't do that. And let's see, I have another one here as well. I think I'll just hold this up. So at the end, you have, I had a background photo of my daughter. That background photo is missing. I had somebody took that photo off. Shows active access to the internet and modifying the phone's memory. Microphone and voice recognition were enabled. I wonder why. I didn't enable it. I was in jail. Okay. 13 new messages. 13 new messages. I never left messages on there. I got them right away. I don't have that many people who would call me. Let's see. No airplane mode on this one. Why? Because they were tinkering with it. They didn't want to disable the phone because there's evidence they were driving around Woodbridge trying to figure out how the geolocation features work. So here you have untrained officers on an app they don't understand, conducting a sting, making an arrest, and they didn't even know how any of it worked. So here we have the time is updated, and the weather is updated, and Google's updated, and you see up here the current daytime, and you see all those icons up here. This is a smudge. That smudge right there, that's what they gave us in evidence. I wonder where that came from, and I wonder what's supposedly under it. But that's what we had. And look at this, all these messages. It says 13. I don't know if you can see that. 13 messages. Okay, it may be backwards when it shows up on here. 13, never ever left messages on the phone, ever. I would have gotten to those messages right away. Later on, my father had told me he tried repeatedly to get a hold of me. I did not have control or custody of the phone at the time. So, through sins of commission, attempting to tamper with the phone and the evidence, or omission, incompetence, neglect, how did it get that way? How did it get that way that my phone was in a position where the data on it could be compromised? And so now we have a big issue. I thought originally that I had, because I was having trouble with the app, that I accidentally sent an illicit picture to the Alex VA account, the defunct account, when I intended it for Zach, but I never saw the message. Okay, so I didn't see it show up anywhere. So it was only when Detective Bauer told me that it had arrived in the defunct account that I was shocked. It never occurred to me at the time to say, wait a minute, that account was defunct. How did that happen? And to question him. I didn't agree with him. I simply said I never intentionally sent something like that. And what they ended up doing was expanding the indictment in order to put picture into it so that they could nail me because they weren't sure they'd be able to get me because there was no sex talk. So what they did, I think now, is that they put that picture there. I can't prove that, but I know I didn't deliberately send a picture there. Certainly, it opens up a lot of questions. But here's another question I have. Why didn't the court care? We questioned it. We questioned a number of things that they had done. We questioned the Alex versus the Alex VA, the attempt to conflate the two, the attempt to pretend like the conversation with Zach was the same conversation that I knew and had surreptitiously decided to put some kind of weird code in the Zach case, even though we had clearly met up earlier in the day and then discussed the matter later. It had nothing to do with a minor Alex VA, nothing at all. The only problem was I was busy and typed it into the Alex VA block. And it's completely disconnected from the Alex VA prior conversations, but it matches perfectly with the Zach conversations on the Zach text block. But of course, none of those inconvenient facts meant anything to the court. They never asked a single question. They never questioned any of this other evidence because they had decided from the very start, because it looks good to hammer somebody who is hammered with or accused of a sex offense, makes them look like they're doing their job. It gives a nice report card for a judge who's coming up for his 10-year review. Prosecutors get to argue that they're tough on crime. Everybody wins except a sham is pulled over on the public. Now, again, you can say that this was all innocent, but if you're going to ascribe innocence to the court and good guyness to them, why not to me as well? Okay? You can't have it both ways. Now, I've been accused of trying to have it both ways, and all I've argued is let's look at all the facts. I've invited people to sit down with me, and one person said they would meet me, but at the courthouse, which is never what I said. I said at my home, a neutral location. Courthouse is not a neutral location. And the PTSD that people like me suffer driving by a government building is more palpable than I ever realized until I drove by one and started getting this tight pit in my stomach. I couldn't figure out why. And I realized I was right in front of the building where I'd been held for 6 months. So again, this is real life. This is what actually is happening. My story is not unique. You hear this from many, many people. And I urge you to look at this. Hit me back. Let me know what you think about this explanation. See if I covered everything. I did it quickly late at night here. So I hope that it has some meaning for you. And for those of you crying out for evidence, I hope you were able to see that. And I hope you see enough just to say, maybe there's something here. That would be good enough for me. Take care and have a good evening.